Howdy, howdy. This is Mr. Potter. This is our first in a series we're going to call ProtoTypical, where I'm going to be building things using the 3D printer that we purchased. We had an unboxing video, and I'll have a link for that down in the description. But one of the first things you do after you've gotten your printer set up and working, making sure that everything's working the way that it should, is you start building accoutrements for it. So looking at my printer, there's two main problems that I have. Number one is the fact that if I want to get filament inside of it, I have to have this door up here open. So that's part of the problem. I can't just close this, because that's going to trap the filament and it's not going to be able to go in as easily. So what I've had to do is basically have this door open, and it's not very nice. It makes the room a lot louder than it really should be, and that's a problem that I have. The second problem that I have is the fact that this roll of filament really has to stay up here. A lot of printers actually have it where the filament can take a more inconspicuous spot either up on top of it or behind it. Right now, the way that this is set up, the filament's basically in front of it, taking up real estate. And so that's two of the things that I wanted to work on, two of the issues that I've had, and I've created a couple of builds to work on these. So I want to switch over to Tinkercad real quick. So I use Tinkercad to do some basic designs. This is a web-based CAD that allows you to create the STL files, the style files, that you can use to then slice and print on your 3D printer. And so you can see some of the things that I've got up here. Primarily what we're going to be talking about in this video are these lid props that I've created right here, and this door latch filament holder. These are the things that I've designed to kind of take care of the problems. So I want to talk about this one first. We're going to go ahead and open this up. Click Tinker this. So the idea here, let me go ahead and get to a different position. The idea here is that I'm creating something that's actually going to sit on the top of the printer and then have a lip that dips into the printer here. And that dip, basically where the lid would normally be, is going to show up here. I'm actually printing this upside down just because it happened to work very well. And essentially what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing a cylinder, bringing it over here, changing the dimensions of the cylinder by clicking on the box. And that's one of the nice things about Tinkercad, is that it allows you to do this. And then I can create a new cylinder, bring it up here, but we'll call it a hole. And now this is going to basically carve out a hole in my existing disc. So this is how I actually built this up, and so I want to talk a little bit about the pieces that I've got, and I'll show you what it looks like in just a moment. So for the 3D printer, I've got part of it that's actually going to sit on the top corner of the 3D printer, and part of it that's going to stick inside the 3D printer. That's this part right here. And then underneath this hole is where the lid's going to fit in. And then I've got this little hole right here because there's a screw on the corner, and this will help it to lay flat. Now the thing is, I haven't actually printed this example out. The one I have has everything but the hole. But I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So let's go back to my printer, and I've actually printed out one of these things here so you can see what it looks like. And I printed it out in, this is just black PLA. It's Shinhan, that I just bought off of Amazon, basically $15 for a roll of black filament. But you can see what I'm talking about with, you know, I've got these two layers here, and this is actually how it printed like this. So you can see this top part up here is going to fit inside the printer like this. And then what will happen is the lid will actually come down. Let me close the lid real quick. The lid will actually come down and will fit inside this notch. And so that leaves clearance for the filament because I made two. So we're going to do that on the other side as well. And so now the lip goes inside the box. And you can kind of see a little bit how it's sticking up right here. That's because I haven't made that hole for the screw, but that's part of the next design that we're going to have. The second thing that I had is I want to deal with basically the filament being up here out in front. And so to deal with the filament, let's go back to Tinkercad. What I did is I created a small latch that would go over the door and hold the spool of filament. Now, I actually took a set of calipers and measured the hole, figuring out how long it is, how thick it is, and that's what we're putting in here. This is the part, this red part, I used these boxes over here to create, and it's only 1 millimeter thick right here, and right here. This is going to latch over the door, so the door, this is going to basically hang on the door. Again, I printed it upside down just so that it'll work a little bit easier for my design. And then down here, this is the cylinder that I created, and the cylinder basically is going to hold the spool. What's nice about the printer is the way that the doors are set up, the body of the printer actually holds the door in place. So this is not going to hang on the door and cause stress on the door because it's not only supported by the door, but it's supported by the frame as well. And so here it is right here. So you can see here's the part that'll latch onto the door. This is the part that actually fits where the spindle is. And let me show you what I've got here with the filament. So the filament actually fits in here, and then this thing hangs onto the door. So I'll show you what that looks like on the printer itself. Let me switch over to the printer again. All right, so what I can do is I can open this door over here. And once I've done that, this will fit over the door. And then this will close. And then once I've got that to close, then I can put the filament on here. And that keeps my filament out of the way. So now I've got the space in front of my printer all nice and clear. That's kind of the whole purpose here. And yeah, I was being a little vain. If we go back to the Tinkercad, I actually put my face on there. What I did is I just took the icon that I have on my channel, I actually put that as a SVG file just to stylize it. So there's not a lot of detail there, but it's enough to get the impression done. And you can kind of see that if we go back to the picture over here, you can kind of see on the end, you can see my face sticking out. So I thought that was a little bit of fun. Anyway, two utility builds for this printer, basically things that I will be using on a almost daily basis. One propping up the door so that filament can get in, one where the spool will be holding, it'll hold the spool, so I'll actually have space in front of my printer. So once again, this is Mr. Potter. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.